Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that.
We are 62 days into the trade war Donald Trump launched on April 2nd, and we're still waiting around for any actual deals to be signed. Today, the White House said Donald Trump signed an order doubling steel and aluminum tariffs against almost all of our trading partners. And as concerns about rising prices and uncertainty grow, Reuters reports that the administration sent out a letter asking trade partners to come negotiate by tomorrow. Meanwhile, Democrats are pressing the Trump always chickens out narrative, handing out free tacos from a truck emblazoned with that very phrase, Trump always chickens out, near the RNC's Washington headquarters. Reports are that the free tacos actually ran out pretty quickly. Joining me now is Jared Bernstein, the chair of the White House Council of Economic Advisors under President Biden. Jared, thanks for being here. Trump and his people promised us 90 deals in 90 days. So what happened here? When will the rubber meet the road?
That was a completely unrealistic promise, to state the obvious. It actually takes quite a while to negotiate these trade deals. I mean, you talk about the European Union, where Trump threatened a 50% tariff before he quickly backed off. So sticking with the taco theme, there's 27 countries in the EU, and they don't all think exactly the same. So they bit off more than they can chew, and they know that. And it's one of the reasons why they've often been looking for off-ramps to get out of this policy that's been so problematic for the economy, so very unpopular with businesses, with markets, with consumers. It's also going to raise consumer prices. So I do think that they're often looking for off-ramps.
This administration, though, has positioned the on-ramp, off-ramp thing as all part of the strategy. Chaos is part of a good negotiation. But what does the chaos mean for the businesses, the employers impacted by all of this, and for the people that they employ?
Well, if your strategy is chaos, then I guess people can't accuse you of being chaotic. But in fact, that's exactly what's happening here. And what we know very well, Antonio, is that businesses find this extremely problematic. They're sitting on their hands when it comes to making deals, like investing in a new warehouse, like investing in a new chain of a particular product. I mean, let's talk about this steel tariff for a second. A 50% tariff on steel, that is a huge monkey wrench in our economy. And I read a good article today pointing out that this would actually raise the price of groceries. I think when many of us think of steel, we're thinking of refrigerators and cars, and yes, those prices would go up a lot. But what about soup cans and beer and tuna fish and that sort of thing? It would also raise prices at the groceries. And we have producers already building those price hikes in. We're going to see higher inflation on the back of these tariffs. So the chaos is terrible for business. The tariffs are terrible for prices.
How quickly do you think consumers will actually start feeling all of what you just laid out there?
I think it's coming really in a matter of weeks, if not months. We know that some of our largest chains have said they're going to have to raise prices. A lot of this comes off the back of the China tariff, which is actually a good point I want to stop at for a second. You know, you talk about this Trump always chickens out trade, and I get it from the perspective of markets. You know, he may say something in the morning and change by the afternoon. But let us not be overly kind of misled by that, in the sense that we have very large and significant tariffs that are on this economy right now. The 30% tariff on China is really wreaking havoc with small businesses. Many of them are already, you asked about timing, many of them are already talking about whether they can even keep their doors open if they're facing a 30% tariff on imports from China.
Speaking of China, Trump is reportedly very obsessed with getting on the phone with Xi any moment now, they keep telling us. Is he in a strong position in those conversations, if they do in fact even happen in the next couple days? Or does China have the upper hand against him right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And if you'd asked me a week or so ago, I might have given you a different answer. I think Trump's in a tough position with China. First of all, China isn't exactly interested in backing down. China is a very large exporter to the rest of the world. You know, interestingly, China produces a lot of steel. They sell very little of it here. Most of the steel they produce, they sell elsewhere. But the reason my answer might change to be a little tougher on the Trump administration has to do with some of the legal rulings that have come down. Now, we know that that Court of International Trade ruling that said Trump massively overstepped when it came to those large reciprocal tariffs, they stopped all of that. Of course, that decision was paused. But when it was paused, when the appellate court paused that decision, it didn't say the decision's wrong. It didn't say we're going to reverse it. It just said we're going to slow down and take a look at it. So if I'm negotiating with you and you're under a legal constraint like that, if I'm negotiating with you and you're under a legal constraint like that, you've got a real disadvantage.
Jared Bernstein, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.